Hello and welcome to 61st edition of Strive Dialogue. Today we have requested Major General Harsha Kakkar to come and tell us what's happening in Israel and why and how Hamas has taken such a huge step. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you.
सर, ये क्या हुआ है, ये क्यों हुआ है, किसका फायदा है और आगे क्या होने वाला है? ये सर 4 सवाल हैं. वेरी ब्रीफली आई विल कवर ये हुआ क्या है. सैटरडे सुबह 6:30 बजे 5,000 रॉकेट इजराइल की जमीन पर दागे जाते हैं. इजराइल का आयरन डोम सिस्टम, जो कि शायद दुनिया का सबसे बढ़िया एंटी मिसाइल सिस्टम है, 30 से 40% रोक सकता है, बाकी जाके इजराइल की जमीन पर गिरते हैं. 7:40 के आसपास जो बराज कवर, जब ये फायर हो रहा है, जो इतनी देर से चल रहा है, तो मल्टी प्रोंग कई डायरेक्शन से फिलिस्तीनी जो हमास के कार्यकर्ता हैं वो एंटर करते हैं एंड दे आर यूजिंग पैराग्लाइडर्स, दे आर यूजिंग एक्सप्लोजिव जो कि फेंस को तोड़ रहे हैं, बोट्स के रास्ते से आ रहे हैं, और वो आके वहां पर जो भी इजरायली उनको मिल रहा है उसको पकड़ रहे हैं, उसको मार रहे हैं. डोर टू डोर दे आर गोइंग. सो उसके बाद एक वीडियो निकलता है इन सब चीजों का, और एक वीडियो निकलता है जिसमें एक इजरायली लेडी सोल्जर को दिखाया गया है, उसके कपड़े उतार को उसको घसीटा गया है. और ये सब करने के बाद हमास क्या समझ रहा है सर कि उससे इसको क्या दुनिया में सिंपैथी मिलेगी, या उसका अपना जो कॉज है ऑफ क्रिएटिंग पैलेस्टीन उसमें मदद मिलेगी, और whatever they are doing, the world opinion is going to be against it. Why have they done it, sir? और इतने लार्ज स्केल के ऊपर क्या हमास में इतनी ताकत है कि वो अपने आप इसमें कर सकता है, या ये कोई ऐसी जियोपॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन है किसी कंट्री की जिससे उसको फायदा हो रहा है? सर,
पहली बात ये है, it cannot be Hamas alone responsible. Situation has been building there since April, जब से अलास्का मॉस्क के ऊपर Israel police action took place. Hamas used to fire a few rockets. Israeli retaliation was severe. Civilian casualties were there. Gaza has been blockaded for possibly 15 years now. It is the largest open prison on earth. Income का कोई source नहीं है. Movement is only into Israel for work, and Israel बहुत control करता है. So, you see, life in Gaza was leading to a frustration. Somewhere it had to burst. And it has burst here. One. Now, what will the Palestinians gain? See, if you look at it, there are lots of questions that are still unanswered. वो तभी आएगा once, with passage of time, once investigation gets complete. First thing, Israeli intelligence failure, पक्का 100%. भाई 7,000 missiles fire करी है, कितनी और है पता नहीं. Hezbollah says I have 1 lakh missiles lined up against Israel. Right? Now, Israel has got its links in the top hierarchy of the Hamas.
Yes.
They are monitoring all communications coming out of Gaza.
Correct.
Now, this means that either Israel, MOSSAD has failed completely, or the Palestinians are aware of it और उन्होंने ये इसको इस्तेमाल नहीं किया. They possibly did not use the communication channels जो normally करते हैं. अच्छा, the other factor is, was Mossad's attention shifted internally? Because in Israel, the battle between Netanyahu and the local public on the judicial reforms चल रहा था.
In fact,
and there
sir,
was that political tussle. Okay, so was Mossad attention shifted internally? Now, forget about Mossad. There was a lot of calm in the Middle East. यहाँ तक कि Jack Sullivan, exactly 8 days before, made a statement that things have never been so calm in the Middle East.
Correct.
It was a calm before a storm. The US intelligence failed, Israeli intelligence failed. Now, it means that there has to be somebody who is advising Hamas. Now, let's go further. There are no paragliding institutes in Gaza.
Yes.
Where did they learn? You're going back to the 9/11 kahani. The pilots
Absolutely.
turned somewhere and came.
Correct.
Here, paragliding was taught somewhere. Next, the weapons that are being used by Hamas are the M4.
Yes. Correct.
Now, the M4 are only with two nations in mass quantity. Afghanistan, where the US
And
left it and went,
yes, and Ukraine.
and Ukraine. ठीक है. Now, अगर Afghanistan है, then someone has to pay them. Then the best country to pay them is Iran.
Iran.
All right. If it is Ukraine, it cannot be Iran.
Yes.
Okay, so this becomes the next link. Or if it is Afghanistan, it could also be Qatar, because that is where all the peace talks were taking place. So Qatar also has a link.
Yes.
You have to also remember that the head of Hamas is based in Qatar.
Qatar. Correct.
He's staying there.
Yes.
Okay, so links are moving in different directions. You don't know yet. Now, if this is where it is, second is it has happened 19 days after the US paid Iran $6 million to
Yes.
flee Iranian American hostages.
Absolutely.
अगर ये 20 दिन पहले होना था, then the money would not have gone.
Yes. So
Okay.
they waited for it.
So one doesn't know. Now, then there is a talk of Russia, Ukraine, because now US is going to fund Israel and Ukraine is going to go on the back burner.
Yes.
But winter setting in
Yeah.
Ukraine, आगे कुछ होगा नहीं खास.
No. Absolutely.
Okay. So the interests are multiple. It is too early to say Iran ने किया है. After all, when you check कि paragliding कहाँ सीखे हैं, they may have learnt it in a third nation.
Yes.
After all, इतने ज़्यादा paragliders coming in, you've bought the equipment, you've trained somewhere. It is akin to
In
the
fact, they're
9/11.
carrying machine guns on the paraglide and firing
No,
from machine
no,
guns.
it means that you have undergone training.
Yes.
And where have you undergone? Now, Israel has blockaded Gaza, but boats came out.
Yes.
So, how did they reach? How did they get out? Now, there is too much of confusion at the moment on the ground. Drones, people say, have come from Iran, but every country has drones.
Yes.
Every terrorist organization today has drones. It could have very well come from Syria.
Yes.
After all, Syria के अंदर भी they've got
Sympathizer.
the fighters there have got drones. They've used it to target Saudi oil installations.
Correct. Correct.
So it is now the attention has shifted from Syria. Also, Syria was under severe stress in terms of US attacks, in terms of the Turkish attacks. Ab everybody has forgotten Syria, everybody is moved to Israel. Now, if you
Attention
look
is
at it, now, इसी अगर आप उसको और ले जाना चाहो, then take it to India, Canada. Now, today, nobody is talking of the India-Canada spat. All right. Now you've got time to rebuild, or you've got that break. कि भाई, let us reset.
Back channel कर लें कुछ.
So you see, the connotations are immense. Accusations आप कहीं से भी play कर लो.
Correct.
But we have to wait. The main inputs will come on the paragliding.
Yes.
The main inputs will come from where the weapons have come. Okay, so बहुत कुछ आएगा. And as they flow, will the truth actually flow कि कहाँ से हुआ है?
Absolutely.
Now, it was Osama bin Laden then, but who is it now? The head of Hamas sitting in Qatar is only eating
नहीं,
money. He's a
हाँ,
billionaire. And
yes,
he's eating the funds that are meant to go for Gaza.
absolutely,
He is nowhere on the ground. It is the military commanders in Gaza who run. But within Gaza, there's always been a frustration because you've been locked.
yes,
Now, how will this help the Palestinians?
hmm,
Firstly, it will bring the Palestine-Israel issue into limelight. Number one. Number two, the two-nation theory, जो आज भी सब रेफर कर रहे हैं, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it is
yes,
US, everyone is talking of a two-nation theory. That had died a natural death. It will
this, yes,
again rise.
it will be
But,
revived.
but for it to be implemented, it is US pressure on Israel.
Yes, yes,
Okay. Now, Hamas is aware that Israel will strike Hamas targets. There will be nobody on the Hamas grounds. क्या होगा? Collateral damage. For the Hamas, civilian casualties are a sign of victory because the pressure mounts
correct,
on Israel. आज इसराइल को सपोर्ट है दुनिया का बिकॉज ऑफ द टेररिस्ट अटैक.
correct,
पर जब जब the जब the Palestinians are killed in very large numbers, today they have a lot of support because of the way Hamas has acted,
yes,
the way Hamas has treated those it has captured, the way it has mutilated the bodies. Today there is literally nobody except a small group of nations that are supporting Hamas.
yes,
Agreed. But when civilian casualty mounts, nations of the West will start talking of crimes.
shifting,
All right. They will start saying, look, you have to target the military, but you're killing the civilians.
civilians, collateral damage को avoid करो.
आज नहीं, but and now you take the other case. जिनको हमास ने कैप्चर करके they've taken them back into Gaza. There are claims, the numbers vary from 100, 150.
Yes.
People are talking of 300, 400. One doesn't know yet. Now you have taken them back to Gaza. The first condition of Israel will be return them unharmed.
Yes,
Hamas will not agree. Because for Hamas, this is a bargaining chip.
bargaining,
Bargaining chip for Hamas prisoners in Israeli
already,
jails. Bargaining chip for all the Hamas fighters who've been caught alive and now in Israel custody. It'll, apart from being a bargaining chip, it'll be something like what the Germans did in the Second World War. They put locals in buildings which had their troops. कि अगर आप hit करोगे, you will be killing your own, and they will send the message.
yes,
All right. Secondly, they will be used as a shield in case of an Israeli ground attack
yes,
on major bases.
yeah,
Okay. Now, who is going to pressure Hamas to implement? It may be Qatar. It could be Iran.
Iran,
It could be Egypt. After all, they are the ones in touch.
yes,
ठीक है. Now, take what this action has led to. Up Hezbollah has opened the northern front.
yes,
It has fired missiles into Israel.
yes,
Now, Israel is rebounding.
yes,
In northern Israel, the Palestinians have revolted who are living in Israeli territory.
correct, correct,
So the Israeli security forces are handling multiple issues
diverted, correct,
all over. ठीक है. So now Israel is not going to stop. It has always said we will destroy Hamas. हमेशा
yes,
हुआ है.
correct,
But Hamas is a movement. It is a movement involving the mind. And it is something that is inbuilt into a Palestinian child from the time he's born or a
yes,
small child.
yes,
You can see that on ground with the way the Palestinian children were treating the Israeli child who's been captured.
correct,
So you cannot eradicate the movement. You may take out the leaders today, new ones will come up tomorrow.
but that will only disrupt it. It
It will
cannot
give
destroy it.
It will give it a break.
That's
Okay.
right.
Now,
It will take some time. So
now the
whatever their
point is-
capabilities,
now the point is, how deep will Israel go? You see, you already had now 600 dead in Israel.
yes,
Take that figure and compare it with the percentage of population in the US, India. It is
Yes.
equivalent to about 25,000 US and
Correct.
approximately a lakh in India.
Correct,
Because
sir.
this is the lot everybody undergoes military training. So the impact on Israel is massive and it's going
Yes.
to be long term. Now, for all that to be set back, Israel is going to take a lot of time. Now, Israel cannot stop. The other thing that is going to happen is this is the end of Netanyahu.
Yes.
Because the failure of intelligence, the casualties in Israel have happened on his watch.
Yes.
No matter what he does now, the dead and
He-
the wounded and the prisoners there, the blame is simple on Netanyahu.
Absolutely.
So
Sir,
politically, he is over.
yes.
His whole tenure is gone. Possibly now the court cases against him will come back.
Yes.
There is no way he can push through any reform. They're
Absolutely.
already talking of a nationalist government. So
Yes.
you can see the impact here. Now let's take it beyond. I'm sorry, I'm going on a
No, no,
monologue,
no,
but
it's okay. It's okay, sir. Sir.
okay. Now you take it beyond. The first possible cause, also an instigation for this incident, could be Saudi Israel rapprochement.
Sir. Correct,
All
sir.
right. Now the US is negotiating a peace agreement between Saudi and Israel.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay.
Abraham Accord.
अब्राहम अकॉर्ड बोलो जो बोलो अभी तक अनाउंस
हाँ,
नहीं
sir.
हुआ है बट दे
अनाउंस नहीं किया,
नाउ
हाँ, sir.
द सऊदी रिक्वायरमेंट्स आर सिंपल they want the two state solution to come back on the table.
Correct, sir.
Second, they want the US to give them a defense agreement
Yes.
on similar lines as Japan, Philippines, बाकियों के साथ.
Security, yes.
ठीक है. Now, in case that happens and Israel and the Palestine and the Saudis come to establish diplomatic ties, support to Palestine comes to an end. If
Okay.
Israel comes here, automatically either Qatar follows suit or Qatar will be sidelined जैसे पहले हुआ था about 2-3 years ago.
हाँ,
ठीक है. If Qatar is sidelined, Iran is left alone. That time it was only Iran supporting Qatar.
correct, sir.
Right? Acha. Now, so for them to break the Israel Saudi affair is this. Now, Israel will retaliate. All Arab nations have
Will
no
follow.
choice either to stay neutral or back Hamas.
Absolutely.
All Israel nations which have got an embassy in Tel Aviv, as the civilian casualties in Gaza mount,
They're
you will
going to.
find all of them withdrawing the ambassadors.
Yes.
Whether it be Turkey, whether it be Egypt, they may not say much, but they will withdraw their ambassadors. Right. Now take this to a stage further. G20 में इतने proudly अनाउंस हुआ था
I am,
IMEEEC,
yeah, sir.
India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor.
Corridor.
Now the corridor is supposed to run by rail from
Through
Saudi all the way to Haifa port in Israel.
Haifa, Israel. Correct, sir.
From Haifa, it is supposed to be shipped by containers to Europe.
Correct, sir.
Can Arab states have trade contact with Israel when it is killing Palestinians? If
Yes.
they do, they will be termed as anti Muslim. So IMEEEC will be on a stall or it will go off.
China didn't make any comments, sir. I mean,
China
they
has,
were very diplomatic, sir.
no,
Nee,
because see, the reason for China being diplomatic is simple. Whenever two nations are fighting, China will watch from the sidelines. China will not poke its nose until it knows how is the game shifting.
but
Here,
but
China wants to, but you got to also realize China is looking desperately to maintain its position in the Middle East and Pakistan.
yes, yes.
All of them. Pakistan is pro Hamas.
Hamas.
Iran, a close ally of China, is pro Hamas.
Correct.
In the Middle East, where it is looking to make headway, Qatar is pro Hamas. The others are acting neutral at the moment, but the shifting is different, right? So therefore, China is playing safe and talking of both sides to de-escalate. After 600 are dead, Israel cannot de-escalate.
Absolutely.
After hundreds are killed in Gaza, the
Yes. Now it.
Palestinians cannot de-escalate. Now that the Hezbollah has fired rockets, Israel is retaliating to the Hezbollah. Automatically,
He
they were not
also
going to
comes.
de-escalate. There is also rumors of the West Bank now launching
Yes.
jihadi attacks onto Israel.
And East Jerusalem,
So
sir.
now all of these groups that are launching attacks on Israel are militant groups. They don't come under any charter.
Yes.
You cannot do anything to them in terms of demanding that you adopt human rights, but you
Yes.
can apply pressure on Israel to adopt human rights.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, which is going to happen a week, 10 days later, when Israel pressure is going to mount by you cut down on your retaliation, you have to follow
Hmm.
human rights. Israel will say, tell Hamas to follow human rights. Hamas ko kaun bolega?
Correct.
So this situation is going to build and build. I'm sorry I've kept yapping for
No, no,
20 minutes, but this is the way I see the situation going.
sir.
And ah,
Bolis, sir. Please
नहीं, नहीं, बोलो
conclude.
बोलो, not a problem.
No, I was trying to uh, take up the issue, like you said about Netanyahu, sir. Now, why an intelligence agency, sir, in the past, whether it was 9/11 or it was Kargil in our case, or it was 26/11,
Or even
after the
73 Yom Kippur, the
or young,
intelligence agencies have always failed, and that is
absolutely,
when incidents like this occur. But the
yes, sir,
best part of it is, you see, when the intelligence agencies fail, also on account of the fact that the other side knows what the intelligence agency is capable of.
correct, sir. Correct, sir.
ओके,
So,
अब यहाँ पे उनको पता था what is the capability of Mossad, what is Mossad monitoring. In all probability, this would have been kept on a need to know basis. Date and time would have been kept secret because the only
yes,
thing that came to you as a hint is something is going to happen.
yes,
Yeah, nobody knew.
nobody.
All right.
No,
What form? Nobody knew.
hmm. So two
So,
issues here, sir.
huh,
Sorry, sir. Two issues here, sir.
what?
First of all, is about the intelligence agency. Did Mossad become complacent? Possibly because of the internal situation, like you have brought in. But
Hmm.
what was the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force military intelligence, doing about it, sir? Where did he go wrong? Is it that we thought, or it was too speculative or too brilliant a plan? Even if they had known, they would have, in the assessment phase itself, they would have said, no, no, Hamas is probably not capable of doing it.
See, that is something which possibly never came. Like when 9/11 happened, did anybody believe you will use aircraft to attack?
Yes,
Now, which country has used paragliders to
to
attack
cross
an
the,
enemy force? All right. When you have such a solid fencing and sort of defense that you've laid out to
and early
segregate
warning and
this,
radars and surveillance, everything
and,
was in place.
and imagine the paragliders land in the middle of the rave event.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Now, nobody had expected this to happen. Today, I know one thing for certain. Over the years, we in India have always said, on 26th, 11th, or 15th August, there is always a possibility of something different happening. It could be
absolutely.
paragliders, it could be drones, it could be anything. We always take that precaution.
Yes,
But here, especially when you're dealing, because you're dealing with a country, here when they were dealing with Gaza and the Palestinians, and Gaza has got no paragliding facility,
yes,
they were unaware that paragliders were being trained elsewhere. And they must have gone to multiple nations or gone in small groups.
Yes.
That is how you had such a large force. And imagine you had the equipment.
Yes.
50, 60, 70 is a massive force. And they flew over the Israeli defense line along the border
Correct. Could not
and
react.
no clue. Or possibly they were aware that, bhai, this is the gap.
Sir,
Now you
it
see,
is it is very surprising, sir. We keep an eye on our adversaries. What is he buying? Which market is he going? What type of equipment is he buying? What type of clothing is he buying? Where is he doing the training? What are the simulated exercises which
see,
are being
एक बात,
done?
राकेश, एक बात है, you can monitor the capability.
But
You can monitor, you see, his thought process, but there's something that we can never monitor is the intent.
correct.
All right. Now, here the intent was clear, and all of these guys who've come across know they're not going to go back.
Yes.
Okay, all those who've flown in, you've come deep into Israel. The chances of you going back
It's a suicide
now,
missions.
to get so many of them to be able to come in
Then the
is a massive.
ideological training has to be of
And
very,
you
very
see,
high grade.
and now if you look at it, the impact is now not only restricted to Israel, Gaza, it is currently having an impact in the entire region. And now you would find that the moment there is criticism coming against Israel in the UN Security Council, the US will block it.
Yes.
If there's criticism against the Palestinians, it makes no difference because there is
Yes.
they are the Hamas is not a nation, it is
Nation.
not an organized force. Nothing can be done. Nothing can be done to Hezbollah. उनके ऊपर sanctions तो decades से चल रहे हैं, कोई फर्क पड़ा है?
बट सर
How
ये
many more
हमारी जो
sanctions are you going to impose on the country which has supported them once it comes to light? Once it is proved कि भाई
हाँ
इनको support इससे मिला या इससे मिला है. Today we are speculating. How many more sanctions are you going to apply on that nation which is already
yeah,
possibly under so many
yes,
sanctions?
absolutely, and they have learned to
उनको
live with
कितना
sanctions, sir.
So, you see, now over a period of time, now this is the start. Ultimately, the Hamas guys in Israel will be killed or captured. It's a matter of time because you
Sir,
are doing house to house clearance.
house to
It's a
house
slow
clearance,
process,
absolutely,
and every day casualty figures are going to change or
go to
visualize.
rise.
It is going to rise. Okay.
But sir,
Now,
in this case, don't you think? I'm still stuck on that intelligence point, sir, that it was over reliance on tech and probably the human sources or contacts or agents which they had, probably human is the one who will may be able to tell you the intent.
see,
But in this particular case, over reliance on technical intelligence was the reason.
possibly, I don't know, but possibly one thing is evident that Mossad has always had human
Yes,
very
very
well
strong in humans.
established in Gaza.
Yes,
All right, very well established in Gaza. Why it failed this time is a very different question to very difficult question to answer. Possibly once the system, the operations are over, and Israel, like it did in 73, like it's done elsewhere earlier and later also, it will order an investigation to determine the faults and that will come out in
yes,
public domain.
yes,
Right. So whether the failure was, I mean, whether human int was compromised, whether it was double source, whether it was, I mean, whether they changed their concept of communications and possible employment. Because after all, 7,000 missiles being fired, and,
and you don't come to know you
and
caught
one
with,
doesn't know how many more they hold.
and
How
many of
else
them
to
are
come?
caught in boxers, sir. Night dress में घूम रहे थे, sir.
Now, have they come in from outside? Are they being manufactured within? Now, those are things that the Israeli intelligence would know.
Absolutely.
Okay, but they don't. So, the failures are there. But to judge why and what, it is best to wait rather than speculate for the investigation to, and there will be an inquiry. I mean, their heads are going to
Yes.
roll en masse. There will be an
Sir,
inquiry.
one last thought process on this, sir. So this is an issue where, like Netanyahu, we know that he's a very strong personality, ultra right. Now, at times, what happens, sir? Intelligence agencies get complacent because they start feeding the type of information which their leader likes to hear. Because anything contrary to his view, is there a possibility that the intelligence agencies
See,
probably
see,
got
you are
swayed by his
no. Listen,
hardline approach?
why are you talking of Israel? What about US failure, intelligence failure? You
Yes.
think they are not monitoring? If Jack
Yes, they
Sullivan
have
makes
also
a
failed.
comment,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
if Jack Sullivan makes a comment 8 days ago,
Uh,
it's evident that it's been a mass failure of intelligence. Even the
yes.
US's intelligence has failed. Otherwise, they would have pumped it into Israel. They're
Correct.
monitoring everything happening there. And if
Uh,
Jack Sullivan is saying on an open platform that the Middle East has never been so peaceful, तो इसका मतलब क्या है? कि the US intelligence has also gone down the drain.
but
Okay.
sir,
You cannot.
hindsight, any major event that has happened, the investigation in most of the cases, including our own cases, was that probably at the analysis and corroboration level,
Let's see.
there has
I
been
mean,
a there has been
why are we no why are we speculating? Let it come. उस समय हमें पता
absolutely.
लग जाएगा कहाँ failure है. But the main thing is the impact now and in the future is going to be that no matter what happens, it's going to be the death of civilians on both sides. Hamas fighters will still get away, but women and children, there are already photographs. Both sides are going to play heavy on social media.
Yes,
Israel is showing you photographs of the way Israelis who've been
are being
captured, who've been taken, who've been killed. They're showing you that to get world sympathy. The Palestinians have begun showing you layers of children who've been killed by Israeli strikes. Now showing you the other side, because for Hamas, you have to realize civilian casualties is a strength.
yes,
It is not a loss.
absolutely.
They exploit casualties. That is how they get sympathy from the Arab world and they push Western human rights organizations to apply pressure on Israel. आपको याद होना चाहिए कि Israel is not part of the World Human Rights Body.
Yes, it is
Neither is
not.
the US. So any criticism on it has no value.
सर, ये सब देख के हमारे पास भी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं सर. वी आल्सो हैव आवर इश्यूज ऑन द
हाँ.
पेरिफेरी. से क्या लेसन लर्न करना चाहिए सर?
See, first lesson is women in combat arms. You've seen what happened here. That's something that the government must look at very seriously. Second, complacency can never come through. You
Yes,
have no option for complacency at all. Third, do not believe that it's a national holiday and things are peaceful. Dono baar,
yes,
73 and now.
yeah, correct.
Both
It's a
days
repeat.
are on national
Absolutely.
holidays. All right. These are three. Fourth, intelligence is something that is permanently ongoing. There can be no
Yes,
laxity. There can be no shortfall. Every possible means must continue getting employed. We suffered when it happened in Ladakh.
correct.
We presumed something, never presume with an enemy. The Israelis have presumed that Hamas is not capable of doing it. The Americans presumed the same, but Hamas proved it otherwise. They did it in 26/11 in India, they did 9/11 in the US. So, intelligence is something that cannot be down. Never base it on presumptions. Always check, double check. If you have to ensure national security, intelligence is a major factor. ठीक है.
I would
Finally,
like to add, sir, what? Sorry.
finally, most important, अगर कोई इंसिडेंट हो गया, hit back,
Correct.
care a damn about global pressure.
I will also add, sir, what you had said earlier, that any incident that has taken place, any violation and compromise of national security, serious investigation, absolutely honest investigation, and person responsible for act of commission or omission should be legally dealt with so as to give exemplary punishments. I
Correct.
think in our country we miss out this investigation part as well as the punishment legal portion of it. Till such time we don't know, we'll not be able to correct our past mistakes, and people will not get, the deterrence won't be there.
Absolutely. So that is it. Now I think we'll take on a few
We'll take the
questions.
questions. We'll take
Uh,
on the questions, sir. So just let me see, sir. So the first question I'll take on is by GK, sir. Ask, we see overwhelming missiles and drones. Do we have the capability to face if similar situation is at our borders?
in our case, it's not going to be something like Hamas. It's going to be a war between two sides. And if it's a war between two sides, you've got far more the capability to destroy the other side if you're looking at Pakistan. And with China, you also got your missiles, you also got your drones, you got anti-drone system, Sara kuch hai in place. In fact, the other day, the air chief announced that the number of anti-drone systems that are being deployed on both the borders are sufficient. We don't expect the LET or the Hizbul Mujahideen or any of these groups to do what Hamas has done. If it is going to happen, it's going to happen from Pakistan or it's going to happen from China. It's an all-out war.
Okay, sir. So the next question is, sorry, sir, the naked dead girl with big hair on a truck is German citizen
Ha,
who
ha,
came from music festival
correct,
in Israel. Her mother is
correct.
pleading Israel government to return her body. That's correct, sir.
Ah, that's correct. There's no
That's correct.
doubt about it.
That's
Ah.
correct. Then he says, there's another comment by him. I could not sleep last night after seeing what they are seeing or doing probably to Jewish
See,
public Israeli
now,
children, women.
currently,
Yes,
currently, no, currently, what you are getting today is the Israeli side on social media to win support.
absolutely.
I'm being absolutely fair on both sides. Give it a few days, which has already started. You will find the Palestinians showing pictures of their dead, wounded, the way they were treated. You will find that coming. The aim then is not to win your support or my support. The aim is to apply pressure on Israel. The aim is to win the Arab support. The aim is to possibly enlarge the conflict. So let us see.
Sorry. If Israeli intelligence can miss 1,200 rockets fire last year, if this day today they missed 5,000, is not surprising.
Correct.
That's
ये बीच में कोई है अडी का एक है अच्छा नहीं है चलो हाँ
हाँ हाँ, मैं देखता हूँ सर एक मिनट.
हाँ हाँ
Hamas is losing popularity with its own people in Gaza. Was this action on endeavor to revive their popularities?
Hamas doesn't stand for elections. Gaza is controlled by Hamas. There is no way. You like it or not, Hamas rules Gaza. It's as simple as that. Baki, the Palestinian Authority, which is sitting in the West Bank, can do nothing much. But the fact is that Hamas rules Gaza. Yes, an incident like this and a strong counteraction will bring in more people into Hamas. Today, possibly Hamas is the only employer in Gaza. Money is flowing from all over, and you join Hamas, you get paid. Otherwise, you are jobless, or you're running into Israel and working as labor. So, Hamas will always remain a dominant power there.
Absolutely. Colonel RP, sir, Hamas type of organization is in and around India, carried attacks, hostages, hijacking, surprise attacks, parliament, disrupt election. Is India counter-checking or just monitoring? How government of India should check?
See, today the government of India, those days of Kadi Ninda, which is what we used to do whenever such attacks took place, are gone. Today, your message is very clear, and the world has accepted it, and nobody has commented on what you've done is to strike back.
Correct.
Chai, it's been covered by the neighbor, but the neighbor is aware of what damage has been done, and he's also aware of what damage can be done. मॉनिटरिंग काउंटर चेकिंग अगर मॉनिटरिंग और अगर इंडियन इंटेलिजेंस अगर इतना सक्सेसफुल नहीं होता देन ऑल दोस गाइज गेटिंग किल्ड ऑन अ डेली बेसिस who are the anti-Indian guys or terrorist group members would not be happening. So I guess we are on the ball and our intelligence guys are on the ball.
He, Colonel Jitendra Chauhan wants to say how Saudi is going to react.
See, currently Saudi is silent. it is, I mean, it has commented, it has said it's looking for de-escalation, it is looking for peace. You have to realize Saudi heads the Arab world or the Muslim world, and it will not take any action which will jeopardize its position there. It is already facing challenge from Turkey. So, in all probability, Saudi will stop talks with Israel. It will continue pushing for peace. But if it escalates beyond a point, it will criticize Israel, and that's it.
Absolutely.
It will not go beyond criticizing Israel because it's not going to poke its nose where it is not required. And why should it get back into a scenario? बड़े मुश्किल से तो that Khashoggi incident has been put in cold storage, and it was Biden who had initially threatened to take action against Saudi for it. It's not going to get anything to revive again. But it's not going to move forward because it is not going to risk losing its position as far as the Muslim world is concerned.
Correct.
What is that organization called? OIC. It is not going
OIC.
to. It is not going to lose its position as the head of the OIC, no matter what people say, no matter how much the US pushes it to criticize. It is going to maintain its own interests.
Posturing may be there, sir, but
It is going to criticize Max. It is going to say Israel is wrong. We stand with the. That is as the case builds and the casualties in Gaza mount. Because
sir,
all other Arab states, Turkey has got an embassy in the Israel, Jordan has got, Egypt has got, UAE has got, Sudan has got. Now, all these embassies will withdraw their ambassadors, and when that happens, Saudi will also join in the criticism. As long as their ambassadors remain, they cannot accuse Saudi of anything. So it's a game. We'll have to wait. Every nation looks for itself. No one is concerned about casualties to the other.
But sir, any country that is actually if they support Hamas outrightly, I mean, whether it is Iran or
it's an open statement by Pakistan, it's an open statement by Iran, it's an open statement by Qatar, it's an open statement by Afghanistan. The Taliban has said, give us passage, we'll go and fight on the side of Hamas. So
I was about to come to that. That's right, sir. But saying and doing, doesn't they also realize, sir, it's against USA.
Arey bhaiya, forget about USA. Pakistan's statement is clear. We stand in support of Hamas. So simple. Correct. US unke saath fir bhi hai. Doesn't make a difference.
No, I am talking about actually physically doing. I mean, making a statement.
Suno. In this world, physically mein koi nahi jata. Physically is stupidity. Nobody does. Today, what is Israel getting? Are we standing there and fighting with Israel?
No.
We're only giving them word support. That's it. That is what the world is doing.
Correct.
Which country is sending its soldiers to fight for Israel? Nobody. So how are you talking on the other side when no one is doing anything here? Nobody gets involved.
That's it. We take on another question, sir, by Kuljit Kumar. Sir, how will this conflict impact India? Also, will Pakistan outfits try something like Hamas?
Pakistan outfits, firstly, do not have an area like Hamas has got the complete Gaza Strip. A lot of funding from Iran and Qatar and the rest. Secondly, as far as we are concerned, you can expect smaller, like we've had possibly 2611, we've had the smaller ones that have taken place here and there. But don't expect anything at this level because they don't have the capability. Secondly, Pakistan will not let them try because it is a nation which is going to be impacted by Indian counter-strike. And the Pakistan army today or in the future also, for a long time to come, will not have the capability to handle an Indian counter-strike.
Sir, one more question. In fact, I was to ask you this question, but then Dushyant has put it, sir. Sir, Hamas, the way they are releasing the videos of various actions and successful of, I mean, like they're given it a motorized paraglide, also the fence being broken and all. Sir, will this action embolden radical elements in India? Sir? Will par lagenge, sir?
See, radical elements in India, if they had to be emboldened, they would have been emboldened by the Taliban. when they took over Afghanistan. They were emboldened. They were emboldened by the ISIS. उसलिए तो कुछ लोग वहां भी पहुंच गए
Correct.
in Afghanistan to fight on the side of the ISIS or to fight on the side of the Taliban. So people they get emboldened by, I mean, possibly anything and everything. Iske saath bhi they will be emboldened. We have yet to hear the comments coming in from Indian radical groups, possibly supporting Hamas. Of course, the only political party that has criticized Israel and not supported Hamas but criticized Israel is the CPI.
Correct.
Okay, no one else. So there are radical elements in India. They're bound to be emboldened, but the point is, what is the capability, even if they get emboldened?
Right. Let's say more of a comment, sir. 600 Israelis killed so far, 2,000
Yeah.
wounded. Death toll could be much higher.
Oh yeah,
Hundreds.
much higher. Oh yes.
Sir,
In fact,
actually,
one doesn't know how many have been taken.
there is a very interesting book I was reminded by Christina Lamb saying that our body is their battleground. So it's actually sums up the everything. Battleground is of somebody else, the bodies, and this is specifically I'm mentioning with reference to ladies and women and children.
Oh yes. They are
The
they are the
battleground
ones.
is of somebody else, but the
What do,
bodies.
what do you think Hamas is going to do now when Israel strikes? It is going to be women and children who are going to be killed, and
Yes,
their
sir.
photographs will come.
Yes,
आपको
yes,
एक हमास फाइटर की डेथ की फोटोग्राफ नहीं आएगी from Palestine.
absolutely.
They will not show, they will not say so and so became a martyr or this or that. They will only show you photographs of women and children. That is how they exploit. चल आगे है.
Sir, I think now we can take one more question, sir.
हाँ.
So you have partially covered it. I think you have already covered it, so you can just re-emphasize that, sir.
Why use bombing on buildings?
Why use bombing on building by Israel instead of surgical strike or army
See
aviation?
the point is, it is basically the fact that they are going to launch a full-fledged ground operation.
Yes.
But that is going to clear part of the area. Here, the intention is basically to destroy Hamas structures, the Hamas intelligence networks, the Hamas office, the Hamas storage depots, the Hamas bomb making factories, or the Hamas rocket assembling factories. The fact is, all of these would have been vacated because Hamas was aware that ये retaliation होगा.
Correct.
But for Israel to show to the public of its own and the world that we are acting, they're going to show these buildings destroyed. They will claim these are the buildings. वो सही है नहीं है, none of us know. But आपको photograph आएगी, Hamas headquarter destroyed. But do we know it was an Hamas headquarter?
Absolutely. Sir, I think we've had a very, very fruitful discussion. Yes, to conclude, I'd say there is a lot which is to emerge, and only after that we'll be able to make a fair assessment of what has happened, how it has happened, how it is going to impact the future. Who has given the weapon, who is in the camp of Israel, who is in the camp of Hamas. It is only time which will tell. Sir, thank you very much for
Thank you.
your valuable time, sir. Excellent discussion, sir. Really, very, very interesting, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Jain, sir.